India's adoption of digital transformation to improve the quality of life of its citizens and the quality of governance has been truly spectacular.
With the support of the public sector, the private sector working together, the objective of the 1 trillion digital economy would be achieved. And I'm sure exhibitions, convergences like this would help to further generate the awareness.
As we move towards more and more digital applications, the cybersecurity is something which we really need to focus on.
Digital literacy today is not an option, it is not a choice. I think it is a compulsion.
A warm welcome to my panelists. I do hope we'll have a very positive and wonderful session. Welcome, all of you. Today's panel discussion is focused on 6 years of Digital India. How successful are we in transforming India to a digital empowered economy? I would like to thank the organizers for taking up an extremely pertinent topic and then inviting a virtual who's who of India's digital transformation drive. Just to set the context, about 37 years ago, India embarked upon its first project that would change the way IT touched the life of the common man. That project was the Indian Railway Reservation System, where millions of Indians saw a computer printout for the first time in their lives and started understanding what technology can do. In parallel, the automation in the banking industry was also a very visible example of how technology can positively impact the lay users. Since then, we have come a very long way, where the advances in technology have been accompanied by complete changes in how users interact with their computing devices and what they do with their computing devices. At a national level, India's adoption of digital transformation to improve the quality of life of its citizens and the quality of governance has been truly spectacular. Every citizen of India experienced this power firsthand during the COVID pandemic, where the Arogya Setu became our bridge for finding out how safe we were and also for registering for the vaccines. However, much more on these various topics can be said on these areas by our very distinguished panel of speakers. So today's discussion points will include, and I will request my panelists to include some of these in their session, the Government of India's efforts in driving Digital India initiatives in India, new announcements to increase universal digital literacy, how does the brand of Digital India respond to aspirations of millions of citizens and a large industry, best practices for public and private sector initiatives, self-regulation for OTT, digital transformation agenda to provide a more efficiently digitally delivered nation, and global changes and technologies. So the format which we will follow is that I will make a brief introduction to each of the speakers, and I will request them to speak for 6 to 7 minutes. And after they are done, we would like to entertain questions from the audience, as well as points that may have arisen of interest during their discourse. My first speaker is Mr. Arvind Kumar, DG, Software Technology Parks of India. It is my pleasure to welcome you, Mr. Arvind Kumar. Mr. Arvind Kumar is the DG of Software Technology Parks of India, and before joining STPI, he was working in the TRAI since 2004. As advisor in TRAI, he was responsible for formulating policies on broadband, data security and privacy issues, manufacturing, DTH, IPTV, TV broadcasting and OTT. And after having worked since 1997 in various government-run premier technology centers such as CDOT in various capacities. He has also worked with International Trade Union as rapporteur on the issues related to migration to next generation networks (NGN), including OTT, cloud computing, security and privacy related issues. Mr. Arvind Kumar holds an MTech degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Varanasi. Mr. Arvind Kumar, all yours.
Anyway, thank you, Sanjay ji. Good morning to everybody, my respected co-panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, since time is short, it's only 6 to 7 minutes. When we say, I'm very happy that this conference is going to assess what we have done in last 6 years when it comes to a Digital India program. If I say in a single line, then I am very happy to say this journey is from digital divide to digital inclusion. 6 years before, there was a digital divide. Rural India of this country was not able to access internet services, technologies. Today, we have 1.2 billion mobile connections. And this 6 years journey can be measured in two manners. It can be assessed in two manners. One could be qualitative assessment, other could be quantitative assessment. Let us have quantitative assessment, which is in numbers, no subjectivity. We have 1.3 billion Aadhaar connections. We have 1.2 mobile connections. 74 billion UPI transaction in the last 21-22 financial year. This kind of the digital growth we have seen. Honorable Prime Minister has also announced called GEM Trinity, which is Jan Dhan, Mobile and Aadhaar. More than 45 crore people are beneficiary of that Jan Dhan Yojana. We have around 140 accounts in this country. I think 120 is connected through Aadhaar-based system. There are a number of achievements which can be seen from the number points of view. Similarly, there is a lot of improvement in the quality of life, which is in the form of qualitative analysis of this or qualitative assessment of this very journey of 6 years. Now, we as a government, is more focus is on development of software product in this country. Today we have revenue of around 13 billion US dollar as far as the software product is concerned. Total revenue for IT industry is 227 US dollar. Out of this, only 13 billion dollar is the contribution to software product. We have created 20 Center for Entrepreneurship across the country, and those Center for Entrepreneurship are domain specific. Like we have one Center for Entrepreneurship is for automobiles, automation and automobiles called Motion, which is at Pune. We have Center for Entrepreneurship at Pune, which is FinTech. We have Center for Entrepreneurship at Lucknow, which is MedTech. So we have 20 domain-specific Center for Entrepreneurship, and the objective is to become again a power, world power, like we have in the software service industry. We want to become, we have the ambition to lead world from the front as far as the technology is concerned. And therefore, our whole focus is how to develop software product as such in this country. This is our one focus as a software technology parts of India and government of India. Similarly, we also have the focus to how to bring this tier 2, tier 3 cities to be enabled, IT enabled. So how to migrate or create new job opportunities in tier 2, tier 3 cities of this country. Third main focus is data centers. for which government is already bringing the policy for incentivizing data center in this country. Thank you very much, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Arvind Kumar, for those wonderful remarks. And if I can sum up what you said, the great leap from digital divide to digital inclusion, that pretty much indicates where the country has come in the past 6 years. Thank you for these wonderful remarks. I will now move to my next panelist, Dr. Inder Gopal. Dr. Inder Gopal is the CEO of IUDX program, the India Urban Data Exchange program, and is also the research professor at Indian Institute of Science. He was previously vice president of software at Ericsson, where he was instrumental in launching their edge computing efforts. Before that, he was vice president of networking at IBM, where he had responsibility for all of IBM's hardware and software networking products. He has also served as chief architect of AT&T and CTO of Prodigy. He has founded, built up, and successfully sold 2 venture-funded startup companies, ReefEdge and Iptivia, and is an investor and board member in a few others. He served as the founding chairman of a leading open-source networking software group, Open Daylight, recruiting dozens of top-tier companies to participate. Mr. Inder Gopal has also a distinguished research career in the area of computer networks, with 20 patents and more than 70 technological publications to his credits. His work at the IBM T.J. Watson Research Center, earning 2 IBM Outstanding Innovation Awards. He has served as editor of several technical journals and was elected fellow of the IEEE. He has a PhD from Columbia University, New York, and a BA from Oxford University, England. Dr. Inder Gopal.
So good morning. It's such a pleasure to actually see people for a change in person. I'm so pleased to have a physical interaction with an audience. I'm going to tell you about a very exciting project, right, which I'm involved with, which I think is a unique combination of government, academia, and industry. And I'm extremely proud of, I think, the progress that we made and the contributions that we made so far. And I really hope to see this potentially as a model that we can use perhaps in certain other projects as well. So about 3 years ago, we were doing a lot of research work in Indian Institute of Science on data sharing. Right? We came up with all kinds of techniques for standardization, for privacy, for data modeling, and so forth. And at the same time, India was very actively investing in smart cities, right? And of course, many of you are familiar with the smart city program, 100 smart cities. This was something that was actively going on. So we started talking to the head of the smart city mission at the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And he said that, the big problem that we have is we are collecting so much data, but we're not able to do anything useful with the data. Very often, one department does not know in the city, does not know what data is available in another department. Sometimes the data is private sector data. It's not available, accessible easily. There are different security constraints. The data is in different formats. So even though we're putting a lot of money, we're getting all this streaming data, we're getting IoT data, we have all this property records, we have all kinds of things, we're not really able to effectively use the data to do useful things, or at least as much as we would like to. So we said, okay, great. We have got some ideas. Let's try to put it together. So about 3 years ago, we started something called India Urban Data Exchange, which basically tried to create a platform, a data sharing platform that would go across this, be deployed in all the cities, smart cities initially, eventually potentially all the cities, and make it easy to share data within the cities. That was 3 years ago. Now we got together with industry. We created an industry consortium, a lot of industry partners. We did everything using open source, right? So open source was the key thing. So it allowed us to collaborate without worrying about intellectual property, all these kinds of issues. And what we did is we built a system. Now the system is deployed in 18 cities. We have probably we have hundreds of data sets that have come into the system. We have probably about 25 different partners building applications on top of our platform, right? So these are partners that are building, for example, applications that do optimization of solid waste management in Varanasi, as an example, reducing the cost of solid waste pickup by 30%. Providing an application to do improving women's safety in Pune by getting data about the safety of the streets, real-time information about street lights, things like that, and providing an ability for people who are walking at night to navigate the city and take the safest path, not necessarily the shortest path. So we have, in Surat, we're doing, for example, an application which takes data from the ticketing system, right, which is selling tickets, estimates using the ticket sales, you estimate the occupancy of a bus. So when you open up an application, you can see when is the bus coming based upon bus tracking, but you can also see is there room for me to sit in that bus, right? Is there seating available? Is the bus crowded? Is it not crowded? So these are all applications and services that we have created, and we have an ecosystem that we have developed around this. So just to give you a sense of what this data exchange does, if you go to iudx.org.in, you will get a lot more detail. But basically, it is a cloud-based platform. It's open source. It allows you to do 3 different things, right? And I'll just briefly tell you what it is, and then let you explore and understand a little bit more as you on your own. But basically, what it does is it allows you to locate data. Right, so it creates a catalog. It finds all the data that's available in a city. This may be private sector, public sector, different categories. Some of it related to air pollution, some of it related to transit, some of it related to waste, solid waste. All kinds of things. Puts it all together, catalogs it, creates a searchable catalog, and that's the most important thing. So you can find what data is available. Then it allows you to get access to the data. So the data is not free. Some of it is expensive data. Some of it, the owner of the data wants to be paid, or it deals with all that. So it is not exchange in the sense of giving open data. It's exchange in the sense of allowing you to get access to the data. And then it standardizes the way the data is represented in a common format with common APIs, standard data models. And it lets application developers get access to the data without having to worry about where did the data come from, which vendor created the data. So all the data representing a similar entity looks the same in terms of formats and standards. So those are the things that we have done. And as I said, I'm extremely excited about, firstly, what it is that we have been able to do, but also the partnership between academia, government, and industry. And I think that really is, what hopefully has made this thing a success, and hopefully something we can emulate as we go forward in other places. So let me stop here and turn it back.
So as someone has famously said, data is the new oil, and IUDX is helping us understand how to use that oil to move the wheels of our economy and our country. Thank you, Dr. Inder Gopal, for this wonderful few words. I know the time is too short, but the great work that is being done, I'm sure we will be able to catch up more with you later on. My next panelist is Mr. Swarab Garg, CEO of Uidai. Of course, we all know and have our Aadhaar cards in our pocket. Thank you, Mr. Garg. Dr. Swarab Garg is the CEO of the Uidai. Prior to this, he was the Principal Secretary, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Odisha, where he worked on digitalizing agriculture and developing a direct income transfer scheme for farmers. He has worked in the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, where he spearheaded the formation of National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, worked on improving the foreign direct investment policies, preparing the initial framework for digital payments, revamping of the gold sector policies, and led the negotiations for the bilateral investment treaties. He has been a member of the experts committees, working groups set up by the Ministry of Finance, Niti Aayog, RBI, and SEBI on social stock exchanges, integration of commodities, spot and derivatives markets, promotion of digital payments, and framework regarding virtual/cryptocurrencies. He has also worked in the area of developing urban and industrial infrastructure. Dr. Garg is an IAS officer of the Odisha cadre and has over 30 years of experience at different levels of government. Dr. Garg holds a PhD in International Economics and Development from Johns Hopkins University, US. He also has an MBA from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, where he was awarded a gold medal, and is a BTech holder from the Indian Institute of Technology, New Delhi. He was a Gurukul Chevening Fellow at the London School of Economics and Political Science, London. Dr. Garg.
Good morning and a warm welcome to all the participants who are here. I'm sure the exhibition is extremely interesting. Today's topic on how successful we are in transforming India to a digital empowered economy. I think my colleagues have obviously mentioned some of the issues. I would focus on some of the highlights of the different programs and what the objective is of the government, and leave it at that, I suppose. So I think number one is Digital India is the flagship program of the government, which looks at how the digitization has to be done. And the focus is to be able to ensure that whatever services that the government offers, that should be available in a digital format if it's possible to be done. And I think with that objective, you have a number of programs, whether it's on the agricultural market side, whether you have the UPI on the payment side, you have the GST on the revenue taxation side, and of course using Aadhaar as the digital rails. You have a number of programs which are running on Aadhaar, including payments, including e-sign, where you can sign documents, the DigiLocker, and other kinds of authentication wherever it is required, that is being done. And along with that is obviously the infrastructure, so that there is no digital divide. So you have the BharatNet and the PM Wani programs, which seek to increase the connectivity and the Wi-Fi access to people. The other focus is on creating a standardized and an open digital infrastructure. I think some of my colleagues mentioned that. You have the India enterprise architecture, which is called India, which in a way defines the open solutions that would be used. And you have work which is going on the Open Network for Digital Commerce, the ONDC, the National Digital Education Architecture, NDR, the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission on the healthcare side, and the Open Credit Enablement Network, OCEN, which is going on. So different sectors, wherever it's possible, the focus is on how to ensure that digital services can be done. One other area which is the focus is on safeguards what can be done. There is the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, which has been laid out. You have the Data Empowerment and Protection Architecture, DEPA, which looks at what is the sharing of financial infrastructure. And of course, you have the Data Protection Bill, which is in the offing to take care of a lot of these safeguards. The Bureau of India Standards have brought out new standards for data privacy, the IS 17428, recently. And similarly, different regulators, including the RBI, have brought out various kinds of guidelines for aggregators, etc., to look at that. The recent budget had the announcement on the digital university and the One Class, One TV channel to look at how education can further be improved through the digital mechanism. You have, of course, the National Knowledge Network, which connects universities, and the Diksha, which looks at school education, the digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing. So these are the different programs which are focusing on, and hopefully the objective of the 1 trillion economy, which the government has over the next 3 to 5 years, that would get achieved partly by this, and riding on this on the private sector, that they would be utilizing this. 3 or 4 areas going forward, which are some of the digital initiatives which have been done along with the private sector, and which form, I would say, the basis of this. One is that the digital solutions have to be scalable and future ready in terms of technology. So this is something which runs across different digital initiatives. The second is that the consumer has to be at the center of any initiative. It has to be aligned to privacy, security, and the ease of use for the consumer. And of course, cost has to be possible by an affordable majority. So that's another broad focus apart from scalability, the consumer focus. And the third, I would say, is in terms of alignment with existing laws and future regulations, because that's very important. We have the Data Protection Bill. So these kind of legislations would keep coming, and we need to ensure that the digital initiatives are aligned to that. And the fourth, if I can put it, would be transparency and user accountability. So that those have to be built into the systems, into the design, and whatever digital infrastructure there is. And the fifth, if I can put it, would be the interoperable nature and the ability to use shareable public infrastructure. So these are some kind of basics which are designed into the system, and I'm sure with the support of the public sector, the private sector working together, the objective of the 1 trillion digital economy would be achieved. And I'm sure exhibitions, convergences like this would help to further generate the awareness and also focus on the pain points which need to be looked at. So with these words, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Garg, and I'm not going to try to summarize what he has already summarized. The amount of work that is going on is, of course, mind-boggling, inspiring, to say the least. So thank you very much, Dr. Garg. My next panelist is Mr. Nagesh Shastri, Deputy Director General, National Informatics Center. He holds a BE from Devi Ahilya University, Indore, and a postgraduate diploma in industrial engineering from NITI. He has over 35 years of experience and is currently handling ICT support to all departments of Ministry of Finance, including PFMS and e-procurement, as well as handling the artificial intelligence divisions in NIC. He is also the group head of the personnel divisions in NIC. He is involved in large e-governance applications such as e-waybill, e-invoices, PFMS, and Central Public Procurement Portal, etc. Mr. Nagesh Shastri, may I request you to come and deliver your address. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay ji, and warm welcome to all my fellow panelists as well as the participants here. As you are all aware, Digital India program started about 6 years back, and as part of that, MIT and its associated organizations, including NIC, CDAC, NILET, STPI, STQC, they have all been working individually as well as collaboratively to provide transformational initiatives which can transform either the ease of doing business as far as the businesses are concerned, or providing better citizen-centric services. So I would like and try to highlight some of the services which are being provided by NIC as part of this Digital India program. Coming to the infrastructure side, we have our email services which are being provided to government officers, nearly 29 lakh in number. Along with mail services, we also have the SMS gateway, which are used to deliver OTPs for authentication as well as send messages for integrated with various applications. Now, another initiative in the same direction is the Sandesh, or government instant messaging solution, the lightweight version of which is also available in the public domain on app stores as well as play stores. So this is going to play a major role in years to come. Video conferencing is another important infrastructure service which is being provided by NIC to various government departments and ministries. It's been used for many years now. However, we have seen an exponential increase of services during the COVID period. And even though the COVID has now gone down, still video conferencing services are used very extensively for government departments and ministries for review of the various schemes under those government departments. Apart from video conferencing, as far as the infrastructure is concerned, the cloud as well as data center services, virtual private network, and webcast services and network services provided to various government departments and ministries is an important infrastructure component. So these the cloud services, for example, they make the cloud or the virtual machines or containers available to the government departments on demand, and along with other cloud service providers empaneled by MIT, NIC is also playing a major role to provide the resources on demand, either platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. Now, coming to the major applications which have been developed by NIC, I am sure most of you would have used one or the other service during course of your interaction with the government, whether it is applying for scholarships or whether it's applying for driving license or a renewal of driving license, or for example for applying for various type of certificates, whether it is birth certificate or caste certificate or marriage certificate. NIC is involved in many of those applications, partnering the state governments as well as the central government. With NIC's presence up to district level, our district centers also play a major role in last mile delivery of various services initiated by central and the state governments. E-Office is an application which was used by government departments and ministries for inter-office communication and movement of files and receipts. It was in use even prior to COVID. However, our experience was that during COVID, it really became a lifeline for operation of the government, and most of the government departments started using it more extensively. So post-COVID also, it continues to be heavily in demand. Apart from e-office, there are platforms and applications like e-procurement, e-auction. E-procurement, for example, is used by near 31 states and UTs. And along with government e-marketplace, it plays a major role in procurement for the government. E-auction is another platform introduced by NIC which facilitates auction of various type of assets, such as the sand mines or excise liquor vents or orchards or any forest producers. These are the kind of things which are used for auction by the e-auction platform. E-transport MMP, I'm sure a lot of people would have heard about. This is an umbrella platform which provides nearly 100 plus services. whether it is the learner's license or renewal of licenses or issue of vehicle fitness certificates, pollution certificates, and so on. In Delhi, recently, these have been made completely faceless, where the applicant need not go to the RTOs, and most of the services can be availed sitting right at home. E-counseling is another solution which is used extensively by the students for admission to higher educational institutes and provides a complete range of services. IVFRT or Immigration Visa Foreign Registration and Tracking System enables the immigration and visa services. Fertilizer management, integrated fertilizer management platform, or the e-Urvarak, provides a complete end-to-end solution for the complete supply chain of supply of fertilizers, and it is used as a DBT service. E-Abkari is a project for complete end-to-end tracking of liquors across the supply chain. Recently, e-Shram portal has been developed by NIC, which is for a registration platform for unorganized workers. So nearly 40 crore plus unorganized workers are supposed to register on this platform, and as on date, more than 29 crore registrations have already happened on this. So similarly, there are other platforms or services provided by other organizations under MIT. Most importantly, you might have heard of the MyGov, which is a citizen engagement platform and provides the citizen with an opportunity to participate in governance. Most of the government departments, when they are forming some policy, the policies are shared through MyGov platform, and citizens can provide their feedback, which helps the government in formulation of the policies. Similarly, Umang, which is an umbrella mobile app containing more than 400-500 services, can also be used by citizens, and it provides a very handy tool to them. DigiLocker is one where the individuals or citizens can store their documents and can be accessed by other applications. For long, there used to be lament that government organizations continue to work in silos. However, this is no longer the case. API Setu is a platform which enables integration of applications developed by different ministries and departments. Using open APIs, the integration of these applications can be carried out very easily. So as we see now, we are initially the applications used to be operate in standalone mode. From standalone mode, there was a movement towards the web-enabled applications, and now the movement is towards the API, using open APIs for integrating the applications which are implemented at different points of time in different departments. So these are the digital transformational initiatives which are being taken to assist the government, whether at the central government level or at the state government level. However, I would just like to use a word of caution here. As we move towards more and more digital applications, the cybersecurity is something which we really need to focus on. And many of these initiatives, they are, while at the time of launch, they are empowered with the adequate security, but security is an ongoing process, and we need to focus on this so that these applications continue to provide a secure platform for the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shastri, for letting us know about the stellar role that the NIC is playing right from the central level to the district level, and the wide array of services and software that is being used across our country. Our last panelist for the day is Mr. Arvind Bali, Chief Executive Officer, Telecom Sector Skills Council. Mr. Bali is an accomplished business leader with 35 plus years of experience in managing various business streams with globally respected outcomes. He helps transform underperforming organizations with his powerful analytical skills, potent communication capability, and strategic vision. In addition to his role as CEO of TSSC, He acts as a part of advisory boards in consulting promoters and their organizations in telecom, IT, and security, and surveillance for performance improvement, and strategic guidance. Till June 18, he served as the director and CEO of Connect Broadband and earlier Videocon Telecom in its maiden journey of becoming an admired brand, enriching the lives of millions and guiding the organization to ride the next wave of telecom growth in India. Mr. Arvind Bali holds an MBA from FMS, Delhi University, and is a graduate with honors in mechanical engineering from Punjab Engineering College. I request Mr. Bali to speak to us and help us understand what we should do where we have so many people who need to be better skilled for enabling their talent and energies to be streamlined for the better utilization of technology. Mr. Bali.
Good morning, lovely audience. Today's topic is actually very, very close to my heart. How successful are we in transforming India into digital empowered economy? So first of all, as in my introduction you heard, I am presently heading Telecom Sector Skill Council. It is under Skill India mission. And prior to that, I had more than 36 years work experience, out of which 25 years I was CEO for global companies. And at the time, I felt that there is a big, big need of skilling youth of this country. We can actually become a skilled manpower resource for the world. So with that thing in mind, as a second inning, I came into Telecom Sector Skill Council as a CEO. Now coming to this topic, which is such a lovely topic we have got, as you all know that Prime Minister Modi, is actually known as a real visionary person, because he is the person, in 2014 when he came, he gave such a very, very special focus on Digital India mission. And today's this topic is basically to see, how well we are transforming as a nation, how really we are growing on that. Now, 2-3 very related point to the subject is that digital literacy today is not an option, it is not a choice. I think it is a compulsion. If you are not a digital literate, I think after some time it will be very, very difficult to survive in this world. Second point, which is also very important, is that digital literacy or digital knowledge is the biggest leveler for a society. We have, as you hear many, many times, that we have got two nations, India and Bharat, and digital world is actually bringing Bharat in line with India. So practically, there was a time in India when all big towns, big cities, people loved, mainly because, you have best of the education, best of the health, best of the facilities, services, everything. Now when digital connectivity is coming to the tier 2, tier 3 and even tier 4 towns, the best of the education is available to the youth even in those nations, in those states, in those cities. And also best of the health facility can be availed there through telemedicine facilities. Same is the case related to entertainment. There was a time when people were coming to the bigger towns, you had bigger theaters and entertainment places, but now, you have got OTT, which is going to even anywhere you have connectivity. So all that is becoming actually the way life for us is changing. Now coming to the business side, digital literacy or digital knowledge is actually bringing a lot of efficiency. Now giving you an example, there was a time when anybody who was traveling by train, they had to spend almost half a day going to the railway station, standing in the queue, book a ticket. Now you can do it in just in few minutes. Same was the case when people were actually had to go to the bank to encash checks, etc. So all those things have actually changed. Our life has changed because of digital. But this is just a beginning. Now coming back to the topic, that how far we have really succeeded, how well we have done in that space. So I'll give you some statistics. In 2021, May 2021, that was a time when India already had 15 crore UPI users. Now, as you all know, that how easy it has become today. When you make a payment through Google Pay or Paytm, in millisecond, that work happens. Same was the case with e-learning. In last year, numbers were that India already had 1 crore people who are doing e-learning. Same way, last year's numbers are 20 crore people did online shopping. Then, as a nation, we have got DG lockers, we have got digital land records, and multiple things are happening. All our life is changing very rapidly, very, very fast. Now, coming to the specific point, a moderator has asked me that how well, as a nation, we are ready with the training or skilling of youth as far as digital side is concerned. So as a Telecom Sector Skill Council, we have got many programs. We have got many outreach programs. We have got our LMS portal through which we promote a lot of skilling programs which are available online. We are also providing jobs to basically blue-collar workers through our job portal, which is telcojobs.com, and that portal actually helps and is made in such a manner that even a laborer can very easily find a job as per his requirement. We are also having more than 1,000 training centers, where we are actually giving training related to digital literacy or skilling related to that. Then we also have a very big tie-up with CSC, which is again a semi-government body, through which we are trying to reach 500,000 youth every quarter, so that we can train them on various literacy. So as a nation, I think there is a lot of work happening on digital training. We have miles to cover, but I personally feel that I think we are in a very, very good space, mainly because India is a very strong software company. The kind of focus we are bringing now into electronic manufacturing, and also we have got so many youth, young people. So I think India will catch up very, very fast in the world. We are already second best in the world now when it comes to a lot of digital shoppings or digital working platforms. But I think gap is still very high and we have to really work on that. So I'm very sure, I think with everybody's efforts, with everybody's work, it will definitely be happening very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bali. Thank you so much for letting us once again realize that digital literacy is not optional and is the biggest leveler. I must tell you that last evening I went to see my mother. She's 83 years old, and she was doing two things. One, she was reading a novel on her iPad, and in parallel, she was also trying to order something online. So when an 83-year-old lady can do that, I think we are pretty much close to crossing the digital divide between Bharat and India. There are a couple of topics. Do we have a few minutes, madam? Okay. Okay. So may I bait my panel to talk about a couple of questions. One is that, of course, we are, as India, from the leading position that we have in software exports, a target of 227 billion this year. But in the past 1 year, the entire industry is struggling with availability of talent. And I'm trying to relate it to what Mr. Bali just said. There are just no people. How do we further the cause of software business, industry, utilization of technology at all levels within the government as well as in the private sector? So this is one question which I would request any one of the panelists or two panelists to take up. And the second thing which has not been taken up by anyone is self-regulation. Is self-regulation in the OTT platforms? So would anyone like to comment on these observations or on these two topics? You can speak from your chair, you don't have to get up.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah.
Okay, let me repeat. Question number 1. How do we increase the availability of technology talent? Today, in spite of having 5 million people working in technology, we have an acute shortage. The industry can't find skilled people. The second question, what do we do on self-regulation on the OTT environment, OTT platforms?
So as far as first question is concerned, I think is most relevant to me. So I'll answer that question. I think as a skill side, when we see the biggest challenge what we are finding is uh, there are two big silos. On one side, we have got youth, academia. On the other side, we have got industry, which actually need manpower. These two silos are not really very well connected. There are students, there are skilled manpower who are not easily able to find jobs, whereas industry is all the time complaining that they are not able to get the right kind of jobs. So I feel that we need to actually work, and as a telecom sector skill council, we are trying to work a lot on that. We are bringing in a lot of CSR funds into this whole thing, so that we become a bridge between these two things. Like on one side youth, on the other side as far as jobs are concerned. Now coming to this related part, I think the kind of intelligent youth we have got in this country and the kind of population we have got of young people in this country, I think it is very, very easy to train them, skill them for any use, any requirement. I think IT industry is one example. Millions and millions of youth are engaged into that. Now coming to the high-tech side also, presently Telecom Sector Skill Council, we are working on IoTs, machine learning, drone technology, on all these things we are working. Now challenge is for us also the same challenge. On one hand, we know where to go to train manpower, but then getting mandates from the industry that yes, they are going to absorb that manpower is becoming a challenge. So now, what we are trying to do is, earlier, whole effort was, we were doing everything from the left-hand side. We were mobilizing youth, training them, certifying them, and then trying to find a job for them. Now we have reversed the process. We are first going to the industry, asking them what is your requirement. And when they specify their requirement, we take 3 months, 4 months, 6 months time from them, as much as they can give. And then, we fill the complete chain. And it is working beautifully. There are already companies who have started coming to us, and they are doing it. I can assure you, because there are so many skill councils, electronic, telecom, IT, they are all working on the same space. You just tell industries whatsoever is the requirement, they just give it to us, mandate it to us. We'll make sure that there is never any shortage of skilled manpower in this country.
Thank you very much. Mr. Arvind Kumar would like to make a remark.
If I can add, so government, especially Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, has also priority to shift software industry to tier 2, tier 3 cities. In fact, we have a scheme, it's called Next Generation Incubation Scheme. We have identified 12 cities across the country, which is tier 2 and tier 3 cities, in which government is providing seed fund to the newcomers, to the startup, which is of 25 lakhs. So if you are going to start your startup in those 12 cities, or you are enrolling on those 12 cities, you can get a fund of 25 lakh rupees as a seed fund. And objective is this, to generate employment at tier 2 and tier 3 city, and shift the IT industry to tier 2, tier city, and decongest our tier 1 cities. So Ministry of Information Technology is also working on the same lines. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, Professor?
Yeah, maybe I'll just add a sort of a slightly different perspective, right? So I've spent a lot of my time working in Silicon Valley, and I moved to India about 3 years ago. And obviously, we have immensely talented people. I think what we still don't have in India is the meritocracy, right? I mean, in the sense that and I'm sure a lot of you who have done software development will recognize this, there is a huge difference between a good software developer and an amazing software developer, right? There's sometimes a factor of 10 in terms of productivity, right? What we do not recognize is those amazing software developers, right? In Silicon Valley, there is a system where you're a great hacker. You get to be in a position of authority. You very quickly rise up in the hierarchy. We don't have those systems in India. We are still too much bound by hierarchies, by okay, how many years experience do you have? I mean, that's the most important thing in determining, your salary. How many years experience? It's not how good did you do in your previous job, or what did you develop? It's how many years of experience. And I think we have to get out of that attitude. I mean, that is my sense. I mean, until we do that and we recognize merit, we're not going to, I think, take the best benefit of our people.
Yeah, awesome observation, Dr. Inder Gopal. Thank you so much. And can I request someone to talk about the OTT? Any remarks here? No. All right. Okay, so we'll let that go.
I'm not too sure whether I have the I'm competent to comment, but self-regulation in general, I can just mention, it's something which is always desirable, but it's a very difficult thing to achieve because there are competing objectives and there are some organizations which are doing self-regulation. So I'm not too sure how much it would be relevant. It's always desirable, but whether it's feasible or possible, I'm not too sure about that.
Absolutely. The race to TRPs is always going to be the biggest challenge. So thank you very much to my panelists, much appreciated. And thank you to the organizers for giving us the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, before we close this session, I would request our moderator, Sanjay Agarwala, who is the Executive Board Member, ESC and CEO, Eastern Software System, to give away mementos to esteemed speakers. Mr. Arvind, Kumar. Dr. Inder Gopal. Mr. Nagesh Shastri. Mr. Arvind Bali. And now may I request Ruchika from Exhibitions India to give a memento to our esteemed moderator, Mr. Sanjay Agarwala. Thank you, sir. Come. Yeah, you can use my mic.
I request Dr. Garg to come up and allow me the honor of giving him this memento. Thank you very much. It's been an honor.
Can we have a group photo, please?